Hi, welcome to the channel. This is Singular Point Goldie here. Who made a noise? Anyways, I am taking over for Godzilla 64 for a bit because he's dealing with the legal issue between him and Jet Jaguar since he essentially assaulted him on set. But yes, I will be taking over for him for today, and I will be reviewing myself because for some reason Chanzilla likes to have us do that. But don't worry, I get to review my 3 other co-stars as well. Say hi. They're just camera shy. It's okay.
How's it, Godzilla fans, kaiju fans, collectors, and just YouTube people in general? This is Chanzilla 1964 here with another figure review. And like Godzilla 1964 said, it's huge. Because we'll be reviewing not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 figures today. And I figured since they're all exactly the same monster, I get them all out of the way. So let's start with the first one. Brief history before we get right into the figure review. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you guys pretty much know what this is about. The entire Godzilla Singular Point evolution line as far as we know. So we have Godzilla Aquatilis, Godzilla Amphibia, Godzilla Terrestris, and Godzilla Ultima. Now there's rumors going around about Godzilla Infinite, but again, those are just rumors, so we don't know anything yet. Not until the last 2 episodes of Godzilla Singular Point come out, which I really don't want it to end. And by the way, you guys can watch along with Monstrosities, who does live streams where essentially you guys just go over the whole episode for Godzilla Singular Point. So be sure to go check out Monstrosities. I'll have the link for his channel down below in the description. And yeah, let's get to the figure review. First up, we have Godzilla Aquatilis. Aquatilis. So, Godzilla Aquatilis is the first form that we see Godzilla take on in Godzilla Singular Point. The first time we see him is in episode 3, where he is chasing after a submarine. But then kind of find out, I think episode 5 or 6, that he's actually chasing a pack of manda. And yeah. So this is a custom one that I painted. I have the original, which I will get out right now. Here is the original Godzilla Aquatilis figure from Bandai Movie Monster Series line. So let's go over this one because this is a better representation of what mostly everyone will be getting on the market. So detail-wise, I'd say the detail is pretty good on this guy. All things considered, from the ribbing going alongside of his body, from the spikes on top, even to the frog thighs. This reminds me of frog thighs, like frog legs. If anybody's ever eaten frog legs, I haven't, but this is what it looks like. And then even to the little fins on the side of his body, Bandai did a really good job including those. But again, the problem I brought up last time, no paint at the end of the tail. But they did manage to paint the tips of his fan flipper at the very tip of his tail, which is nice, and the fan flipper. So good on that, Bandai. But what happened here? What happened? Let's take a look at Aquatilis' face for a bit. So as you can see, the teeth are nicely sculpted individually, and there's teeth on the inside of the mouth, and even the top. Godzilla Aquatilis' eyes are painted this nice gold color, and his horns are painted a nice silver, same as his fin protrusions and his dorsal spines, all up to this point. And then it's not painted, but that's where I come along, because as you can see on the tag, Godzilla Aquatilis' dorsal spines are much darker in the show, so that's what I went ahead and I did. I colored it darker, and I colored it all the way to the tip of the tail. Plus he has his orange line thingies, which I also went ahead and did. But I will do a custom comparison between these two later. But I gotta say, for this figure alone, the amount of detail on this Godzilla Aquatilis figure is spot on to the anime. One thing I would say is these arms could be thinner, because in the anime the arms are thinner and a little longer. This is pretty much the same in the anime. Yeah. And the tail could be longer, but it's a Bandai, and I know they're limited to what they can do because it's soft vinyl. So tail's good. All good with the tail. For articulation on this guy, you get 3 points of articulation, which I was not expecting. So good on you, Bandai. You get 1 for the arm, 1 for the other arm, and you get 1 for the tail. So yeah, articulation, awesome. Next up, we have Godzilla Amphibia, which by far is the worst off of the 4 figures. I'll show you why in a bit. Because this guy didn't look like this when he came in the packaging. This was pretty much painted bone white. All of this over here was painted bone white up until we get to the spines, which are all painted silver. Then from there it was bone white. Up until this point of the tail, where it was just not painted at all. Not even these 3 prong things were painted. Which was a bummer because Bandai did such a good job on Godzilla Aquatilis, and they just didn't decide to do it on this figure for some reason. I'll give Bandai props though. Toenails were painted. So, yeah. The entire underside of the belly here was painted this nice purple brown color. I went ahead and I did some black washing over here. So all underside was a nice purple brown. I added this part because even the concept art pictures, there's actually the beginnings of Godzilla's silver crest on his chest, Godzilla Ultima silver crest in Godzilla Amphibia, so I decided to put that on. But detail wise, I feel like Godzilla Amphibia's face could have been better maybe, even though they put a lot of detail, especially in the eye area. If this would focus, there's dots, little bumps in the eye region, and the eye is sculpted, and so is the pupil actually, which is really cool. The face is nicely sculpted. Yes, it's very Varan-esque, which I will pull out my YMSF Varan figure for the comparison, and YMSF Titanosaurus. But detail for this figure, I'd say, I know a lot of people give this figure a lot of crap for the detail. I think the detail is actually pretty good on this figure considering what it is. It's just Varan in Godzilla form. Really fat Varan in Godzilla form. Not fat shaming, just saying it as it is. But yeah, detail I think is really spot on. Only thing is, again, this leg should be a lot skinnier and a lot longer. And they should have made this thing move. Even though all this thing does in the movie is crawl around a little bit, then blow some smoke, blow some under 20-degree vapor, and utterly nuke Japan. But I mean, yeah. I think this figure, detail-wise, is pretty nice. Articulation, that's where this figure takes a huge dive. Because we go from 3 with Godzilla Aquatilis, which was very impressive, to 2 for Godzilla Amphibia. Let me show you where 2. Utterly useless articulation. Even though it's nice, it's not very useful. 1 here, and 1 here. Now, let me show you why I'm saying that it is useless. Because if you face the feet this way, the figure does not stand. How do I do this? The figure does not stand properly. See? The feet have to be laying flat down for the figure to stand properly. Even though it's fine like this, because this is how it is in the promo pictures. But I would have loved it if the back legs could move, and maybe if the front leg moved back and forth. But I mean, it's Varan. And I'll show you what the other Varan figure from YMSF. Due to his carapace, I think articulation is just tough on this guy. But yeah, those 2 in the front only. No tail articulation even though there's a joint, which really disappointed in Bandai for that one. But let's move forward with the next one because I think they did a good job with the next incarnation of Godzilla. Our next figure that we'll be reviewing is Godzilla Terrestris. Godzilla Terrestris. So, Godzilla Terrestris is Godzilla Ultima, is Godzilla's third form in Godzilla Singular Point, and as you can see, kind of based off Gorosaurus. The dinosaur-esque shape, the blue coloration like he had back in King Kong Escapes, not to mention the scaling is very Gorosaurus-esque, and the spikes over here. Yes. But his face is a whole nother story, because his face, he's, not to lie, he's scary. This Godzilla scared me a bit when he first popped up in Godzilla Singular Point, because he looked full-blown, like, came straight from deep under. Because that face is scary. It's goofy, but it's actually pretty scary. It's like if the Joker turned into a Godzilla. Yeah, but onto detail. Detail for this guy is pretty dang amazing. From the individual sculpted scales to the little dots on the scales even. I didn't notice that up until now. To Godzilla's, Godzilla Terrestris' armored plating, which is beginning. It has sculpting in there, which is really, really nice. And even the underbelly has sculpting. All the way to the tip of the tail. Now, I'll say this. Godzilla Terrestris' eyebrows are very reminiscent of Godzilla 1964's eyebrows, and that they have that defined, hard kind of eyebrow thing going on here, which I thought was really cool and a really nice callback for Godzilla SP. Just my opinion, not an official thing. But aside from detail, on the paint on this guy is as good as it could be, I guess, budgetary wise, because they really skimped out on the silver paint on the spines and the yellow and the bone white paint on the tail over here, which again makes me really sad. But beggars cannot be choosers, because this is still a great figure. They still painted the eyebrows and the mouth areas, pretty much parts of the body that are red, aside from the very end of the tail over here, they painted, which was really, well, I just gotta say kudos to Bandai that they did this. I wasn't expecting that they would do this, but they did, so that's awesome. And again, if you are a customizer like me, this can always be fixed after you get the figure, because I still have this one tagged, which I will be not keeping this one. But this one I am going to keep, and this one I did a repaint on. So I essentially recolored all the spines over here, added the red striping again, because there's red cracks for the tag over here. If I show you the tag, there's red cracks on the very side of Godzilla Terrestris. So I added that on, even though it's more like a tigerish kind of striping, like the raptors back in Jurassic Park. That's what I was going for. Not exactly show accurate, but for me it gets the job done nonetheless. There's some better ones out there, like some Instagram customizers, which I really liked, but I wasn't about to take my time doing that. So I stuck with what I did for Godzilla Aquatilis and Godzilla Amphibia. But aside from that, I also painted the rest of the tail, which this is what it could look like if it was finished. So yeah, again, I want to ding Bandai for paint, but the fact, and I'm being very lenient here, the fact that they did the red over here and over here, I'll give them some slack. Even though I really wish they finished painting these dorsal plates like they always do. But still, red, very good. But onto articulation. I'll just continue using mine one, just so this, yeah, I'll just leave this one aside. Let this one get some spotlight. So this one's articulation is an improvement. because I know that it would be hard to articulate this shape of arm. So I'm glad they added some arm articulation right here. He can kind of pick up something. Ugh. All jokes aside though, that's his arm articulation, and then his leg articulation. He has his two legs move, and then no tail articulation again. But that's given for this, practically this whole line aside from Godzilla Aquatilis and Anguirus, which I'll be reviewing later on. But yeah. Last but not least, we have the ultimate, the super, the final, Godzilla Ultima. So Godzilla Ultima has to be, I don't have unpainted, uncustomized figure of this guy. I only bought figures of these guys because they come up in Hobby Link Japan, and I figured I'll get 2 extra ones to just for this video. So, but on the Godzilla Ultima, let's just start off with this detail. Paint I'll go over later. But for Godzilla Ultima, detail. The detail on this guy is insane. From his face, look at the amount of detail on his face. I mean, all the cracks, all the bumps, all the chin, all the muscles on his chin, and all, not to mention the cracks and the hole and the divots inside of his jaw, bottom jaw here, look really nice. Even his spines over here have little indentation and marks in it. And the dorsal spines look really nice. They're unpainted when they came, but even so, they look very nice unpainted. But from the tip of his head all the way to this guy's tip of his tail, and even the underside, dog hair, I have 2 dogs. Even the underside of Godzilla Ultima looks really nice. Now, I'm just seeing on the SH monster art that this has some texturing. So Bandai, I wish you guys did that, but even still, this is still really, really nice. The stomach thing aside, detail is solid on this guy. Like even the teeth, if the camera would just focus here. Even the teeth are individually sculpted. Like, for the amount of teeth that this guy has and for however small it is, I didn't expect them to do this. But believe it or not, there's also teeth on the inside of his mouth. I did my best to paint them, and right now I'm doing my best to have the light catch it, but phone stand and light doesn't exactly work well together. But take my word for it when I say that this guy's detail is amazing. Aside from the stomach thing, but nonetheless still amazing. Now on the paints. Godzilla Ultima's paint was, well, it did the job. Let me just say that. It did the job for this Godzilla. Again, the tip of the tail for this guy was not painted from this segment on. Dorsal spines didn't have this red coloration here. The mouth actually wasn't painted red. This was something I did on my own. The mouth was just full black, but the teeth were painted very nicely. Amazingly for Bandai, they painted all of the spines up until the segment silver. They painted this neck row of spike silver. They painted this crest over here on his chest silver. The only part they didn't paint silver was these arm spikes, arm protrusions over here. But I mean, with the amount of paint that was applied, I'll let that slide because I still think for Bandai standards nowadays, this is still pretty good. Especially for this crazy of a design of Godzilla. The fact that the teeth were painted nicely, the spines were painted nicely, again up until the tail, and that they decided they still painted the neck and the chest spikes, and even the nails. I mean, these ones and these ones were painted, aside from this one, but still, they painted the nails on top of everything. I mean, good for you guys on Bandai for this figure, because this figure is amazing, and I cannot wait to see the pictures and more reviews for the Godzilla SH monster arts for Godzilla Singular Point, because I think it'll be even more like just the hype that's been building up for the entire Godzilla Singular Point series. Not only the figure line, the SH monster arts, but the series as a whole. I think it deserves all this hype because of how great it's been so far. especially the amount of figures that Bandai's been putting out for this series. Which, by the way, Bandai, I hope you guys put out a Saranga, whatever you guys call the blue Gabra looking monster, and a Rodan figure. Those two I definitely want you guys to put that out. I can do without Kumanga, although that'd be nice, and Hedora. I could do without those two. For sure, I would like Rodan and Sarunga to be put into figure form, because I know those two have been rather prominent in the Godzilla SP series. So Bandai, let's make it happen. But yeah, this figure is an A+ for me. Size comparison, here you go. There's nothing much to say. I mean, I think the size comparison works here. Only thing is, I would say this guy would be a little bigger than Godzilla Terrestris. Or, I'm not sure. The sizing is weird because it's an anime, so it's not exactly very clear. And with the concept art that comes out, the size fluctuates between who, puts the monsters together for the concept art or not. Because some concept art, he's huge, some concept art, he's small. And most concept arts, he's like twice the size of this guy. But I think for all intents and purposes for this figure set, I think it all scales up very nicely for, the Godzilla Singular Point series. And if you guys haven't checked out the series yet, I would recommend checking out when it comes out on Netflix for the US in June. I think the third week of June, hopefully it comes out. So I recommend you guys definitely check that out. And yeah. Okay, to finish off the size comparison, I brought out a few other figures that you guys might have in your collection. We have Manda here, God's Anguirus, and we have Jet Jaguar over there, aka Eggman. But this, I would say this sizes up well with Manda, and Manda only, even though Manda should be skinnier in my opinion, but it's, again, a Bandai vinyl, what you gonna do? I think it sizes up well. But aside from this, these guys are like way too big for what we've seen in the anime to be scaling up with these guys. Because if you haven't seen the Godzilla Singular Point Godzilla Ultima SH Monster Arts pictures, this guy is like the size of Godzilla Singular Point's toenail. He's small. And the fact that he should be like maybe half the size of Anguirus, like this, to Anguirus. I'm not saying that this is a bad sizing up, by the way. I mean, for accuracy to the show, this is a bad sizing. Play value wise, this is a great sizing, because you can totally have Jet Jaguar duke it out with all these monsters. I wish Anguirus was a little bigger to Jet Jaguar, so we could do the whole, the whole stepping on Jet Jaguar scene. I mean, it's Anguirus. He's like a giant dog, a monster. Even though he's actually an Ankylosaurus, he's like a giant dog in all the movies that I've seen him. Godzilla's best friend, loyalist friend. But all that aside, but yeah. Speaking of Titanosaurus, Gorosaurus, and Varan, here is the comparison that I promised you guys about earlier in the video of the three monsters with their Godzilla counterparts. What do you guys think? They could practically be siblings to each other, right? Right. But would I recommend you guys buy these? Okay, so yes, I would definitely recommend you guys buy these figures, especially if you're a Godzilla fan. Granted, I would get this one, I would definitely be wary of not to overpay for, because of the just the lack of articulation, the lack of paint that you're gonna get on this guy, because he doesn't come painted with this brown. I forgot to mention, he does not come painted with it. It's just a full orange carapace, but I still think he's worth having in your collection. And then this guy would also be wary on not to overpay. Although in general, you shouldn't overpay for figures in general, but me, as a collector of Godzilla and Bandai vinyls, I tend to sometimes. Just a lesson from me to you, don't do that. But I would definitely recommend you guys pick these up if you happen to find them for a reasonable price. And I think this video has been long enough, so remember to leave the thumbs up if you guys like this video. If you want to see more Godzilla content and Godzilla news, Kaiju news, be sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment down below. It really helps our channel out to grow. So yeah, that's all, and I'll see you guys on the next video. It's Chanzilla signing out. Peace, peace.